tough semifinals. Magnus versus Wesley and Levon versus Ding. There's a bit of chess competition today, you could argue, but this is as good as it gets. Here we are. We have liftoff. Game number 1. E4, E5, knight f3. Knight c6, bishop c4, knight f6. I can't see the board yet. Can you guys? And if you can, why can't I? Those are the questions I have. Anyway, I'll just assume that you can see it. I'm not sure why I cannot. But here we are. The Italian is being played. Pawn to a5. The so-called gioco piano, gioco pianissimo. Ah, now I got it. Thank you. Here's the show for me as well. Magnus Carlsen, probably not thinking he can crush one of the best prepared players in the world in the opening, Wesley. So just go for a very slow setup with his bishop to c2, pawn to d5, queen to e2. Computer not happy with Magnus's play, saying knight g4 here, targeting this pawn, and black already putting a bit of pressure. But Wesley goes a4. Oh, Magnus could take the time to maybe stop that with pawn to h3 if he chose to do so. Could also try to open the position in the center. That's what he does. He takes d5. Still keeping his options open. And the center. Bishop takes. You cannot take this pawn yet. Typical tactic. Takes, queen e5, bishop f2, knight g4 check. So Magnus just choose to develop a piece, bishop to e3. Didn't get anything out of the opening, but we're just getting started. Quite some background there for Magnus Carlsen from the Hemingway suite. I forgot what the hotel was called, the hotel in Pamplona that he's based. Looks nice. A little understated. Beautiful. Knight 3, bishop e6. The bishops got traded. Position is sort of stable now. White should throw in a3. Yeah, and he does, so he never has to worry about that pawn. Then bring the rook to the middle, and then dream about playing pawn to d4. One day. Nothing special, but compared to the trouble he was in earlier when Wesley could have gone knight g4, this looks like a pretty good outcome for the world champion here with the white pieces against, at the very least, online, his greatest rival recently, probably. In his head, or most of his headspace will be consumed by Jan Nepomniachtchi, who's his rival in the up-and-coming World Championship match in November in Dubai. But online, Wesley So has been a consistently strong foe for the world champion. He goes d4, knight takes e3, now pawn takes or queen takes. Seemed to give white a nice position. And queen to d3, Zwischenzug. He's threatening queen h7 check. And after g6, he does not recapture on d4, but goes after the b5 pawn, arguing, you know what? There's a pin on the d file. I'll pick up this pawn and see if you manage to save any of your material. Bishop g4, trying to pin the knight, but white can unpin by takes followed by rook e1, which should still give him a bit of an edge, as far as I could tell. Carlsen thinking, both players very evenly matched on the clock. Yeah, here we are, rook to e1 played. Queen c8. Computer actually didn't like rook e1, says it's equal now, because now after knight takes d4, knight takes d4, cd. There's queen takes c2. The queen on c8 does a great job covering everything. It's just, yeah, just so strong. Wesley with these short tactics. And you can tell Magnus missed his move, queen c8. Doesn't look thrilled. But Wesley, I don't know if he looks thrilled, but he does have things under control here. Queen c8. Quite a move, Magnus here now. Has to eat a bit of humble pie here, go bishop e4 or something along these lines. Try to keep the position equal, I guess. Knight d2 played, trying to jump around. Wysox is asking, why isn't a4 dropping? Looks very dangerous to get the bishop side tracked here. Black would capture on f3, then capture on c3, then activate the rook a5, rook g5. No, you can't take on a4. Like long term, it's a weakness, but short term, no way you could let bishop f3 happen there. DC played and knight e4. Magnus not even covering the pawn. What's going on if we take here? He just wants to recapture and then say, long diagonal, my friend. At least that's my guess. Very dynamic solution by Magnus Carlsen here. Wesley goes bishop to f5, pawn takes c3. Now you could get rid of this knight before it gives any unpleasant checks. But he doesn't. Allows the check. Wesley is saying, check please. And Magnus obliges. Just looks winning for white now. Tiniest of head shakes from Mr. So. Rook a5. Trying to fight back with more tactics. Magnus still has to find the finish. Goes queen b2, rook f5, c4. Very quiet. The computer says it maintains the winning position. Threat was rook e8 check. Knight e5, but knight d5. Computer not a fan. Queen takes c4, knight e3, and now there's queen e4. Whoa. Pinning the rook, and Wesley is back in business. So sharp, these people. Queen c3, rook g5. All of a sudden, Wesley's a pawn up, and anything could happen. King h1. Drama. King g8. Wesley really leaning into the camera and the position. This would be considered rude if you were playing over the board. His head would be like on Magnus's second rank. But online, you can lean in as much as you want. I would assume Wesley is not much of a terror squad fan. So he probably doesn't want to lean back. What's going on now? Rook b5, rook e1. And did he blunder this? Because now it seems like white is back in the driver's seat. Queen c1. Yeah, queen c1 played, and if the queen leaves, this king should end up getting caught. Can't cover e8 and f6 at the same time, as far as I, and more importantly, the engine can tell. This is it. Drama. Knight e7, but white takes. The king has a luft on h2. And Magnus Carlsen wins the first game. Wesley's seen enough. Leaves instantly.